Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Toni Vanschoyck, and I am here going to just share some information with you tonight. For those of you that don't know me, I have been a holistic advocate for many, many years, about 20, let me see, Naomi's 24, 23 years to be exact. Since we went down a path of where I had to do some different learning and reach out to different providers in order to help my family. So that's how we all got started with this. Long story short, I have been in network marketing for the better part of almost 30 years, and always advocating with clean, amazing products. And so that's what's leading us into our educational call tonight with some extra information as we carry on and lead on. We will open it up for any add-ons, any comments, anything that you guys know, because I know that there's a lot of really intelligent people on this call, and I don't know everything, nor do I profess to or want to, but I am bringing you my education, my expertise from the things that I have learned over the last 2 decades, and also being challenged with autoimmune disorders, and also with making the best for my children, whenever possible. So we just were exposed to some information over the past couple of days. Please drop in the comments where you're coming in from, and maybe what you're interested in learning tonight, or some potential questions that you have, so we can keep the dialogue going. One thing that I love about these calls is that these are interactive, as they should be, because like I said, I am not the only one that wants to be doing the talking. But what we just shared is that there has been new massive advancements in our immune system, specifically related to the gut. So that's kind of what I'm going to share with you tonight. And I just want to share with you some basic overall information. And then I want to share a couple of tidbits of studies that have been released from UCLA, and also from Amsterdam University. But I want to go through this first, and I want to be very, very clear, because a lot of people don't understand that the gut and the immune system, they are one in a universal language, pretty much. And when the gut is out of balance, your immune system is out of balance. Now, your immune system also can have too much good flora and not enough of the flora that actually needs to do the heavier lifting, loading work for your immune system. So I just want to go over a couple of these facts first. One is that I completely believe that you are what you eat. I've seen this happen as we've gotten, more, really reeling in that circle of influence, and really tightening that circle up. If you guys did not hear, we have a new podcast that drops every noon on Monday. I just interviewed our local farmer, and he will blow you away with the information that he had on that. So make sure you're checking out that podcast, that Simple Wealth, WELLTH, on Apple and Spotify, and then also to our YouTube, which is youtube.com/effing simple. So we talked about, you are what you eat. A great segue into that was Alex talking about how important it is to get to know and shop from your local farmer. That, you guys, in itself was amazing. I have incorporated, I never have been a red meat eater, but I have been really diving into what Alex has to offer, and we just bought a cow. So we're really utilizing clean red meat from regenerative farms, and we also get our chickens and our eggs from him as well. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I'm telling you, that will be a game changer for you. Did you know that 70% of your immune system, it lives in your gut? So your gut is kind of like the master organ, not the master gland like the pituitary, and then the thyroid and the pineal gland plays a huge role in that as well. But 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So if your gut flora slash microbiome is not where it needs to be in the ratio of good bacteria, and there's a lot of good bacteria, but you also have to have bad bacteria. So, and then what happens is that once your immune system is operating on an optimal level, okay, that's when you don't have autoimmune cells, cancer cells, other cells that start to multiply and proliferate. And so that's really important as well. And as I have mentioned on other calls before, that if you don't have a clean gut with the proper amount of flora, you're going to keep reabsorbing that shit into your bloodstream. And literally, Americans, and I'm not saying Canadians, Europeans, or Australians, Americans, you are walking around with up to, on average, 20 pounds of undigested fecal matter in your friggin' intestines. So how do you think that makes you look and feel? Your skin, your energy level, your PMA, all of that has to do with what is going on in your gut. Okay, so the other thing is too, is that the immune system will also create a thicker barrier in your intestines, which will, massively reduce the thin layer or tears in your intestine where leaky gut can happen. And if you have leaky gut that's happening in your body, that is also going to exacerbate autoimmune disorders. So again, you want to make sure that you have that strong barrier in that outer lining of your intestines. And that goes for your small intestine and your large intestine. So what is also present in your gut also determines the education that your gut is going to get. Okay. So your cells in your entire body, your cells learn and your cells remember. It's like what you talk about when you stop working out, but you've created it's sorry, you guys, I muted the wrong person. So your gut health is going to mimic, exactly what your cells are communicating. So your cells have memory, just like they have muscle memory. Same thing with your cells. They remember and they also learn. So remember is that your brain isn't just the thing that is learning. Every single cell in your body has a learning capability. I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that. Okay. You also have 200 different species of flora or microbiome in your gut, not in any other organ, but just in your gut alone. And let's talk about some of the great things that can help that. Of course, we talk about fruits and vegetables. It's better if you're using a fruit and a vegetable that has the cruciferous, right? The cross on them, like broccoli, cauliflower, berries, excellent source of good fruits and vegetable enzymes and those type of things. But also too, high protein and also good fats. So avocados are the #1 recommended. And also, you guys, beef tallow, it's making a comeback. Just like bacon greases, it's making a comeback. Butter. We have been exclusively using butter and ghee for the past 6 to 9 months, and we've noticed an incredible difference. And also, too, your skin is a reflection, your skin health, that's a really big deal because it's your largest organ. Now, I just want to preface this is that there are some people that have started on our recommended regimen and they suffer from the bad bacteria and the bad parasites dying off. This is normal. And I don't want to say the word detox. That's not the correct word to use. This is your body coming back into a balanced equilibrium. Okay. So what else helps with balancing your gut flora? Functional mushrooms. Those are really a category of their own. And we have learned, especially over the last 5 years, that nootropics, functional mushrooms, good bacteria are absolutely phenomenal. So what do we mean by good bacteria? Okay, so Candida, yeast, SIBO, all really bad for you. Those are the bad bacteria that are usually way out of whack. If you've been on a prescription medication, if you've been on an antibiotic, if you're eating shitty food. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I posted this on my story yesterday, and they put hot copper on a McDonald's hamburger. And what happened? It was disgusting. It was reduced back into rubber. And I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, probably about 20, 25 years ago, there was a movie out there called Super Size Me. Totally disgusting. Okay. So you have to know what you're putting in your body. I say, you know what, I have been really avoiding eating out or doing anything like that. And then if I'm traveling, I really try to have pre-prepared meals sent to me. That's been a game changer because you never know, you never truly know what you're getting into in a restaurant. And one, you're going to pay more money. Make your own damn food. Okay. There's another product, another ingredient called beta glucans that basically primes your immune system. So there's amazing products out there, pre and probiotics that have these in there. There's a new immunity products out there, specifically gut focused, which we have that's brand new and it's all patented. So that's huge. The other thing that a really good functioning gut system does is that it releases GABA. And GABA, along with serotonin and dopamine, are the happy hormones, basically, that are going to keep you alert. They're going to keep you happy. They're going to keep you provided with energy. You're going to be in that creative flow space. So, again, a lot of really great things and ingredients that you can put into your body as well. Oh yes, the guy from Super Size Me, he did die, Tammy. So Terry, so functional medicine, they're not the medicinal mushrooms that cause these psychedelic side effects. A lot of them are maitake, shiitake, oyster mushrooms. Those are just some of them. But actually, I do have a 10-minute video that came out yesterday that was a really good overview of some of these ingredients that we do use. So again, they're called functional mushrooms. All right. Now, with that, we went over a little bit about what that does, but I wanted to also talk about, because I found this very interesting, and it goes back to my conversation with my chiropractor today. And you guys, he goes all over and he teaches and does seminars. I have been with him, oh my gosh, almost 10 years, and I've been getting chiropractic care since I was 22. So it's one of the very functional things, but what one of the original chiropractors did, and you can go look him up, his name is BJ Palmer. He took a lot of these psychological issues that were happening, and I want to talk about mental wellness, because we do have to talk about that as one of the things that we find that more and more people are dealing with, and it's because of the gut brain access, the communication, the nutrients, and the information that the brain is getting from the gut and the brain is giving to the gut. So it's like a 2-lane highway. So think of Route 66, right? Someplace cool that needs to travel, your brain needs it, your gut needs it, your overall health needs it, right? So there are actual devices that can measure your microbiome. You just buy kits and you send that in. There is a device that measures the vagus nerve and the communication that it's having between the gut and the brain. And there is it's on the ankle. I think it's called Stole, and I'm doing this off of memory because I didn't have time to go write down the notes. You put it on your ankle and it measures literally your heart energy. So there are different things that you can measure to see if the natural products that you're using are actually working. And it can also help enhance that. So I thought that was really, really, really cool. But I wanted to share this, and this is not public knowledge that, I'm taking this really cool course. But I just wanted to tell you, so this is from June 22nd. This is from UCLA, and I want to read this verbatim. Okay. The composition and function of the microbiome have been linked to stress-related disorders and other mental health diagnoses. The result of the human study headed by researchers at UCLA have found that resilient people exhibited neural activity in the brain regions associated with improved cognition, regulating emotions, and were more mindful at better describing their feelings. So what they did is they took 120 people and they measured people with high resiliency and people with low resiliency. The low resiliency group couldn't handle stress and other things, and their gut was not as healthy. And they measured the microbiome, they did MRIs, and they did some other basic testing. I would assume, that because blood pressure, you have a blood pressure cuff. I recommend that everybody gets one. You guys, I felt my blood pressure spike last night, and I went immediately and took my blood pressure, and even though I was pissed off and I was angry, my blood pressure was only 117. So, again, it's always a great thing to have those handy just in case. And especially, like if you've had, a history of heart disease, or you got something going on there in the circulation department, always good to have that. Okay. The same group of people also exhibited gut microbiome activity linked to a healthy gut with reduced inflammation and a strong gut barrier. So that means that, again, that there's no leaky gut, right? This is why it's so important for us to treat the intestines with the good flora along with a great thick lining to our intestines, okay? So anyways, let me just go down here. I'm trying to read all the highlights here. The composition and function of the microbiome have been linked to stress-related disorders. And okay, I already covered this. I'm so sorry. That was a double. Okay, so even though stress is an inevitable part of your life, the people in the high resiliency group were less anxious, less depressed, less prone to judge, and had activity in regions of the brain associated with emotional regulation and better cognition. This is huge. You guys, UCLA, they've been studying this since I believe 2018, and I found numerous articles from 21 and 22. So this is not something new and not something that they've just newly invested in. Okay. Okay, I was just making sure that I got all my notes. Okay. So I'm just making, okay. Also, people with high resiliency, they had a very much higher bounce back ability rate just based on their own. So I thought that was really, really interesting. All right, so let me go to this next one. Okay, apparently I did not log the information on the Amsterdam call, you guys, and I apologize. We're already at the 20-minute mark. I'll find it and I'll post it in our chat. But there was also a correlating study in Amsterdam, University of Amsterdam, or Amsterdam University, and they had talked about, I'm just going back into my phone to see if I had actually screenshot the right stuff that I took pictures of today so I could share with you right away. I'm just checking here real quick. But the best part is that they corroborated the same study. So I thought that was really interesting. And they weren't partnering with UCLA or anything like this. This was their own thing. Okay. So just remember, and again, I'm just going to go see if I can find it. Amsterdam study on high resiliency. But the great thing is that you all have, like, I just typed this in right now. So they actually have studies on this on the NIH, which I reference to them a lot. And the reason is, obvious for some of you that know me. Oh, yep, here we go. So yes, Amsterdam, umc.org. It's neuroscience. And this is from 2021, actually, but they have a more current research study that was just done a few weeks ago. So it's out there and you guys can go do the research as you see fit. But okay, so here's a couple of other things that I just wanted to share with you. So when you have small intestine bacteria overload, this is called SBO. Basically, you've got way too much candida, or C. diff or something like that. But it's really about what your body is reabsorbing. So what is recommended is that you get on the reboot for 3 days, but you do not start them antibiotics until 2 weeks after, but you get the digestive and you take, if you're having heartburn, you're going to take 2 at breakfast, 2 at lunch, 2 at dinner, and 2 before bed if you have heartburn, okay? But what it does, when you're on digestive for 2 weeks, you're going to need two containers of it if you're taking it 4 times a day. is that it resets everything. So what it's going to do, it's going to make your stomach more acidic. It's going to make your small intestine more moderate to acidic, and then your colon is going to be low acidic. The reason why your stomach needs to be higher acidic is that most people have taken Tums. They've taken some sort of Prilosec, or is that the purple pill, whatever it is. I know that I had a family member that was on that for years, and it completely ruined his health. Because your body needs to make it naturally. So these are natural inhibitors, not like a synthetic, not like something that you're going to take that you can't live without. It's in order to make the body regulate on its own. Okay. So what happens is that when you're on the digestive, after the reboot for the 2 weeks, that's when you can introduce the antibiotics, because if you put too much good bacteria in, and this actually was a discussion in our group chat today. So when you put too much of the good bacteria in, you're not killing off the bad bacteria. And so it keeps proliferating and it keeps reabsorbing. And so this could be some of the side effects, and is some of the side effects that we were actually discussing today. And actually, Dr. Sean talked exactly about that. All of this is going to do, it's going to adjust your digestion. Okay. Last thing I want to mention, because this is also brought up several times in questions and calls, is that when your cortisol is out of control and your blood sugar and cortisol spike in the middle of the night, taking an extra Mood Plus before bed, and also the Seed Plus, will help with that. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do to feel better. As I learn more, I will be sharing relentlessly. I have a whole training that I'm going to do on the positive psychology approach. It's actually fascinating for me. And I've said this since day one. You can't treat something that happened in your past when you keep going to relive it. You got to have tools to move on. And so that was part of it too. And also, gut health is completely related to mood, to focus, to clarity, to positivity. And when your gut is in the shitter, for lack of a better word, so's your attitude, so's your outlook on life. And you guys, I have been religious taking my stuff, but I didn't realize today when I went to my chiropractor, he noticed something was right off. And I haven't had one probably in about 4, maybe 5 months. Haven't been traveling. I've been really, really watching, the outside chemicals and the chemicals that, again, water filter, air filter, clean food, all this stuff. But the one thing that I noticed is that as soon as he adjusted me because of my stress, is that it was instant relief. And so therefore you have to be cognizant of really, really taking care of yourself, getting your adjustments, drinking the clean water, breathing the clean air, eating the clean food. That's massive. So that's really all that I did want to share with y'all today. C. diff was killing me. I'm telling you. Okay. And you guys, even though you might have been exposed to it, I was listening to some people that had major surgeries, they had major scars and stuff like that. And sometimes what happens is that the bad bacteria gets trapped in these scars and your body just keeps reabsorbing it. And this can also help with that as well. And that's where, your MRSA and your C. diff and all this shit comes into play. We don't actually know a lot of times what our body is actually carrying. I want to tell you this really gross story really quick. But it goes back to my chiropractor. He's like me. He's been in the hospital twice his entire life. He's a serious athlete. He used to be a cheerleader. He was a rock and roller. He's done all sorts of different stuff. That's probably why I like him so much. One of the smartest men that I knew. He ended up in the hospital 2 years ago because he had been walking around with an infected zit. They figured about 2 years. And so it turned internal. And, he had to cleanse himself because they had to put him on antibiotics at the time because there was nothing else that they could do for him. But you just never know, like crazy things can happen. So this is all about balancing out, your immune system, your gut, getting rid of any antibiotics that you've taken. If you've taken one dose of antibiotics and you've not done a candida cleanse, I'm telling you, you have an overgrowth of yeast, period, because it keeps getting reabsorbed and reabsorbed. So that's really all I wanted to share. Ugh, I rambled a little bit. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to share these examples with you. Now, I'm not making any medical claims. I'm not doing any of that. None of the stuff was evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. I just want to show you what's possible and what our clinically proven, science-backed products can do for people, and really help them to feel better. So with that being said, I think that most of you were on here for the education portion of it. If we need to go offline and talk more about the business and what that looks like, absolutely 100%. Anybody that invited you to this call, shares this call with you, go back, get your questions answered. I have been a lifelong network marketer. I will be in network marketing until I die and I'm in my coffin. So I'm super excited to be here sharing with you guys tonight and the possibilities of not only what the product line can do for you to help you feel better, but also to, as a one, is that right now in this day and age, and I just heard this in a little fact as well, is that a family of 4 with a dog living in a single family home taking one vacation a year has to have a household income of $252,000 just to get by. So you think about that. You've got a car, you've got 2 car payments, you've got the mom and dad, they both have full-time jobs, you've got, 2.5 kids, really 3 kids, because I think your dog sometimes counts more than your actual kids do. But that is the average cost of living at this day and age. To live comfortable, what they say is comfortably. So how is it that we can show you how a multiple stream of income can help? And that's where I'm really going to leave it at. I don't have to be in here for the hard sell. I just know what this industry can do for people. So with that being said, Jen, I don't know if you're still on here, if you've got such wonderful words of wisdom. I don't know if you have anything to add, but we would love to hear from you while we curate some messages, or if anybody else has an ad, I would love to hear it. Or you can drop a question or an ad or a comment in the chat as well. I'm just going through the comments here, guys. Oh, nice. We have people from all over. Appreciate y'all being on. Any questions at all? Okay, guys. So, you know where to get a hold of me if you have any questions. I've got the chats, I've got social media. Y'all have my email and phone number. I think most of you do. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I am here to answer questions and help as much as I want. I also, you guys, I'm so excited. If any of you do need help, I do have a functional medicine doctor now that I can refer people to. And she's amazing. I interviewed her for my podcast last week. She comes out next week and she's going to blow your freaking mind. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being on. Take care. Love you all. And I will see you on the flip side. Mwah.